The following program, offered by Fox 19, includes lawyers licensed in Kentucky. For those lawyers to maintain compliance with the Kentucky Bar Association requirements, the phrase, "This is an advertisement," must appear on the screen. Moore Law is underwritten in the public interest by the Moore Law Firm, a legal professional association. This is Moore Law on Fox 19.
Welcome to Moore Law. Each week we discuss a different legal topic and, of course, take your legal questions live on the air. Today our topic is Social Security disability. If you're too hurt to work, will you be able to pay your bills and take care of your family? Do you qualify for Social Security disability? What should you do if your claim is denied? If you have questions about Social Security disability, give us a call at 513-421-4691. Again, we'll take those calls live on the air, but let's take a look at what's coming up over the next couple of weeks. On August 13th, we'll be talking all about injuries. August 20th, can my boss do that? And August 27th, careers in the law. Again, today, though, Social Security disability is our topic. Joining me, of course, Don Moore. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Deb. You doing okay?
Doing great, doing great.
I understand that you got your kids back.
I did. Nobody really took them away, but they were at camp for a week and came back from Camp Kern on Saturday, so I've been hearing all the amazing camping stories pretty much every minute of the day.
Well, as you know, I was out last week. I was out of town, but you know, I wasn't too far away to listen to the Reds games. How about those Reds?
Those were some great games. It's just been so much fun.
Yeah, it has. They're used to winning, and we expect them now to win.
And now you expect them to win, and it really is. It's a great feeling.
And that's very cool. We have a very cool guest today, Mike Mooney. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Mike has been handling Social Security disability type claims for over 25 years. I talk to him regularly, and there's another little known fact about Mike. He really likes to go very fast in sports cars around racetracks.
I also heard he's not the only person on this set who enjoys that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We share that.
Something you have in common?
Yeah, that's something we have in common.
Well, again, thanks for being here.
Certainly.
And you know, when you think about this topic, this whole Social Security disability, I think that most people immediately think the deck is just stacked against you. Is that your impression?
I have to give a shout out to Social Security. I think it's a good agency. I've been an attorney I've been doing this for almost 40 years. And I've practiced in front of every kind of agency, unemployment, veterans, et cetera. And Social Security really has its act together, in my opinion. I think that people are caring. I think they want to make the right decision. They're clearly paid to be skeptical. A lot of folks apply, unfortunately, who probably shouldn't, and so they get a little, the Social Security gets a little skeptical. They want to see the proof, and so that's what we'll be talking about today, is the various kinds of proof necessary. But I think it's a legitimate agency. And I think it's trying to do the right thing on behalf of everybody. So,
you know, that sounds like a great commercial, but I had, and I know you're saying it from the heart,
yeah.
But I had a client just the other day that I spoke with who was rendered a quadriplegic as a result of a very minor procedure in a hospital. It's a medical malpractice case we're handling. And her husband applied for her right after she was rendered a quad,
right,
and was turned down.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens. I've had the opposite experience where people who are that profoundly impacted get it right away, and there's a fast track system that's supposed to grab those easy no-brainer type claims and grant them instantly, and I've been experiencing that. My clients who have profound injuries, not in-betweeners, are getting benefits very quickly. So I'd like to think that's unusual. It may not be. I have plenty of complaints about Social Security, so I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say they've done anything wrong. I make a living fixing things they do wrong.
Right.
So.
Okay, all right, great. Why don't we take our first phone call? We have Esther in Hamilton, I believe. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning.
Hey, Esther.
Tell us a little bit about your call.
Hi, I started on disability a year ago, and at that time I asked them to run my claim for my work history against my ex-husband, and they told me they did. But apparently my daughter's 38, and she draws like $200 or better more than I do a month. So how can I confirm that they did this?
What would you suggest for her, Mike?
Certainly the best place to start is the 1-800 number. Social Security has a number, 1-800-772-1213, and they have folks there who can answer questions. My experience with them is that on these technical issues, how do you get the most out of the system? They're very, very good. They get it right 99.99% of the time. So chances are it's something that it would be difficult for me to explain or maybe even understand quickly based on this phone call. But I'll bet you anything they're right, and there's probably not much you can do about it except call the 800 number and start tracking what it is they're saying. Maybe run it by an attorney, see if an attorney can give you a hand with it. But I have a feeling what you're going to find out is you're just going to learn why they're right rather than get more money.
How often are people pleased with the outcome of something like this?
Well, it's frustrating to people to find out they aren't going to get as much as they thought. Mm-hmm. Disappointed expectations are significant. But for the most part, I think people are satisfied once they get to the bottom of things that this was the right result.
Okay. All right. Let's get to another call. Courtney in Seven Hills. Good morning.
Good morning. I was wanting to know, well, the same question. I just want to know, like, what can you do if you get denied? Like, twice, actually.
I didn't hear the question.
Can you give us that again, Courtney, please?
One more time, Courtney.
What do you do when you get denied?
Oh, get
when
denied.
you get denied.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, you have 65 days to appeal, and they count the 65 days from the date stamped in the upper right-hand corner of the decision. So it's not the day you got it or the day you remembered to look at it. It's that written date. You've got 65 days, and you have to just keep filing appeals. It is a somewhat slow process, and it's a somewhat frustrating process. But the key is never give up, keep filing. Because the bottom line is you eventually end up at a hearing in front of a judge, and the judges tend to be more informed and more open-minded about these cases. So don't be discouraged by the first couple of denials. Just keep hanging in there, file your appeal, and ultimately you'll have a hearing in front of a judge who will know what's going on, and your chances of success there go way up.
Mike, what happens if a person files, more than 65 days goes by? Is there anything that keeps them from instigating a new claim?
Well, it's interesting. Here's how it works. I hate to be a little cynical about Social Security, but if you miss the deadline to first go around, in every event if you have good cause, you have a good excuse for being late, they'll accept that late appeal. And so the reality is, if they don't accept it late the first time, they have to take a new application, do all the paperwork, do all the stuff into the computer all over again. It's a huge hassle. And so if you're late, more often than not, the first go round, they'll accept your good excuse, however flimsy it might be. So don't give up just because you missed the 65 days. Go into the Social Security office and give it a shot. And chances are, if you're not 6 months late or 3 months late, if you're a week or 2 or 3, you'll have success.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great. We will be taking a break right now, but give us a call, 421-4691. Of course, today, Social Security Disability. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to More Law on Fox 19, your legal questions live, with local broadcaster and award-winning reporter Deb Haas and Cincinnati personal injury attorney Don Moore, recognized by Ohio super lawyers. More answers, more help, more law on Fox 19.
All right, it's time now for More Law Connection, where attorney Dan Moore is taking some viewer emails. Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Deb. Our first question today is from Sarah. She says, if someone steals your car and causes an accident, is your insurance company responsible for the damage? There are two parts to this question. With respect to your car, if your car is the one that's stolen, the insurance company is going to cover that under what's called your comprehensive coverage on your auto policy. If you're talking about damage to another person's car or to another person in a crash, that's not going to be the responsibility of your insurance company, because they have what's called an exclusion in that policy for not covering people who don't have permission to use the car. So a thief obviously doesn't have permission to use the car, so they're not going to cover the damage to another person's car. Back to you, Deb.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan, and we'll be back to you in just a few minutes. We want to get back to the phones now. We have Bill in Westchester. I know you've been waiting a while. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, I'm 50 years old, was injured at work a year or so ago, and unable to work, applied for the Social Security disability. They told me I didn't have enough credit, that I did have credit, that at 62 or something I would get a payment at that point, but right now, because I worked in for a government for half my life. They said I don't have the credit now. And I know a younger person that was injured. They applied for Social Security and they got it when they only worked for a couple years. And I just didn't understand.
Sure, I can.
Well, here's how things are supposed to work at Social Security, and I think usually do. There is what I would call a pay-to-play system. You've got to work and pay in to draw anything out. And if you haven't worked and you haven't paid the premiums, just like if you don't pay for a private insurance policy, you're not paying that premium on a regular basis, you're not going to have coverage. And in your situation, if you worked for a government agency and didn't pay into Social Security, and then you came into the private business world and paid in some but not enough, you're probably not covered. Again, this is the thing that I said at the beginning of the show that Social Security tends to get right. They know the technical stuff. As to why your friend got it, I get more questions every day from people who say, why did my neighbor get this? And I don't know. I don't know. You don't have enough information about your friend's situation for me to give you an informed answer, but the bottom line is probably somehow they paid in more than you did.
And Mike, we have that all the time with injury cases when somebody says, well, gee, I know somebody who had an injury similar to mine and they got way more money than, than the people are offering. And we have to say, we just don't know about their case.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's head back to the phones. Mary in Covington. Actually, I think we lost Mary, but we do have Sheila in Walnut Hills. Sheila?
Yes. I was wondering if you were on Social Security before and you had illness and you were discontinued for Social Security. If you have a new illness, are you capable of getting Social Security again?
Yeah, the answer is yes, if you're still disabled. One of the interesting things about Social Security is, as we just had our conversation with Bill and he hadn't paid in enough, all those years you were on Social Security count as years that you paid in. So those aren't zeros. When they go to calculate, did you pay in enough to be eligible, you get credit for all those years of being on disability. Of course, the question now is, you got better, or you went back to work or whatever, and now something new has happened, and that's a whole new ball game. The fact that you're on before really doesn't help. The question is, what can you do now, and how severe is this new impairment?
Okay. All right, let us head back over to Dan Moore with another email question. Dan?
Thanks, Deb. Steve writes, my boss gets me to clock out and then run errands for him without being paid. Is that legal? No, it's not. That's a big no-no. If you're doing work for your boss for your job and he's requiring you to do it, you have to get paid for that. He has to pay you. That's why in this country we have wage laws that stipulate that you have to get overtime, stipulate that you have to get a certain amount of wage in the form of minimum wage. You can't just not pay an employee and have them go do errands. Now, you can volunteer as an employee to help out your boss, but generally speaking, if you're doing work for your boss and he's requesting it, you have to get paid. Now, if you have a legal question, go to Fox19.com, click on the More Law button at the top of the page, and fill out the Send Us Your Questions form. Click Submit. We may even use your question on the show. We'll do our best to answer it. And then we're going to have some more calls right after this.